Hello traders, how are you doing? And I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. Welcome to a new trading session, a new trading week. This which is going to be week from 28th April down to I think maybe 2nd or 3rd May thereabout. And so I'm going to be making this video to explain how I analyze the index chart and then how I use that to then take trades. Remember in my last video, I explained to you that the best way to be able to approach the market is to be business minded, where you first understand which currency you want to buy, which currency you want to sell based on what you're expecting, whether you're expecting them to be strong or weak. And then with that, you can then go to your chart to look for the pairs to trade and then trade it effectively. That's what I've been using, and it has been working, very, very swift. So I then just thought of the fact that in order to enhance traders to be able to trade well, I may need to be doing this regularly, maybe weekly, where we'll analyze the charts together, have some expectations of what to expect during the week, so that we are not caught unaware, and then we can use it for our trading. So we're going to be starting with dollar index. As you can see, I have the dollar index, about 5 charts opened down. Dollar index, yen index, pounds index, card index, and odd is the same thing that I have here. The only difference is that this one have indicator, and I wouldn't want that to, cause, traders asking me for this and that. That's why I'm just going to be going on a very plain chart. So we are going to be starting from the weekly time frame. In this case, as you can see right here, we seem to have a very strong support line. Here price got to, and then it started reversing. And there's every tendency that price is going to be turning bullish, that the US dollar is going to be turning bullish, but not immediately. And the reason for this is because before we are able to determine whether price will go up or will go down, it is going to be based on the fundamental or macroeconomic indicators surrounding that economy. And so currently right now, I'm not sure that there's any news or fundamental that supports the immediate bullish of the USD. And so, even though we know that we may be turning bullish soon, but I still expect that there's going to be some kind of trade wars between the bears and the bulls around the support zone, in which case we may be having something that looks like this to happen somewhere around here. So despite the fact that we may eventually go up later on, in this case, but we may still be having some kind of movement downwards in the interim. So now let's see how this plays in the daily time frame, and especially the 4 hours and the 1 hour time frame. On the daily time frame, there's no big deal here. We can only just see that we have been making higher highs and higher lows, lower highs and lower lows. Sorry, in this case, I'm still expecting that there's going to be another low before price eventually then turn. And then on the 1 hour, 4 hours time frame, we are going to see how price will eventually move. Bear in mind, I'm expecting that we may most likely be having this kind of formation around here, and we'll see how that will play. So, yeah, if you find it very instrumental, very useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, so that you can also be able to reach out to lots of traders that want or value this kind of information. Importantly, it's also going to help you get notification immediately I post something like this. You get to watch it first before anyone else. So now this is the 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame, I'm going to enable the period selector. Period separator. And so we'll see that the 4 hours time frame is where we are going to be able to make projections for the week. So right now, we are going to be making projections, I think, till somewhere around here, which is going to be from Monday market open to about Friday market close. So where do we expect that price is going to be getting to in the coming week? Well, because price has gotten to a key turnaround point, there are 2 things that price may do in this case. The first one is that we are going to be assuming that price has gotten to a key resistance line on the 1 hour time frame, in which case something that looks like this. And so if the fundamental that supports the United States is very, very bullish, let's say, for instance, there's a news event that came out and then it's very positive, like maybe the unemployment, there was a reduction in unemployment, or the inflation, reduces, any other fundamental that supports immediate bullish, that's when this can break. But if there's nothing like that, where everything still remains as it is, there's every tendency that it will first go a little bit bullish around this resistance area, and then giving you something that looks like going to be looking like a flag setup. And most importantly, it's going to be looking more like an inverse shoulder pattern, in which case we have the first shoulder here, the second shoulder, and then the head. And then you will be expecting that perhaps the price breaks out. But what determines whether this price will break out or not is the fundamental that supports the United States. If there's no news that supports that, then you wouldn't expect it to break. Alternatively, so this is the first thing you need to watch out for when price gets here. If it doesn't break and come down, then you are most likely not even supposed to be looking for a buy setup. Let price get back to this place and watch how price reacts. If price get there and then it rejects, then it means that it's most likely not going to be breaking it yet. So what that means is that we are still going to be going down. And that formation is what I'm going to be showing you right now. The exact formation of what we have before is what we may most likely be experiencing, where price may be giving us a diagonal structure around this zone, something that will look like this, around that support line, something that will look like this. And so what that eventually means, in fact, let us go to what price did before, the one I showed you before. So look, you can see what price did around here. That is exactly what I'm expecting that price is most likely going to do. In this case, we also had something that looks like an inverse shoulder pattern right here, and the neckline around here, where price was supposed to break out and it didn't break out. And then after that, it then eventually gave us an any diagonal structure right here. I can see it gave us that structure right there. So exactly what we are seeing right here is what we should be expecting that price would do at the current position that we are right now. So let us move to that point right here. And then we are going to be making projections of price movement. So we expect that there will first be an immediate bullish for the USD, which is most likely going to be happening when we are asleep, in our country right now. But as at the time where we have price getting to the New York Open, you expect price to then come down. Now, if it comes down and it doesn't go below this point, then we are still going to be holding our bullish to see if price actually wants to break out, using that flag pattern formation. But I don't expect it to break. As a matter of fact, I'm expecting that price is going to be doing the diagonal structure, in which case when it gets there, it then start coming all the way down to the low that we have right here, all the way down to that low. So I'm expecting that price is going to be, that the US is going to be bullish. First, be bullish, then immediately after that, becoming bearish. So let me clear all this drawing. And then I'm going to be putting something around here that suggests that I'm expecting a bearish USD. A bearish USD turning, because it's actually at the turning point right there. So I'm expecting that that US is going to be bearish, and then it's actually going to be bearish but turning. Then where do you expect it to get to? I'm expecting that price will get to somewhere around here. So I can draw a box around here. I think shape, rectangle. I can draw that around here. That's where I'm expecting that it should get to, and then eventually start reacting. So, but for now, I'm expecting it to be bearish. So now let's go to the yen. For the yen index, we start from the weekly time frame as usual. We look at the key level that we have right here, and it looks as if we are going to be having price coming to test this support zone. Now, if you remember that the yen index is inverse of every other ones. For what I mean is, you can say every other ones are USD LFX, GDP LFX, CAD LFX, other LFX. But where by the time you come to the yen, we have LFX JPY. So it means that when it is going up, it means that it is bearish. It means that it is bearish. And then when it is coming down, it means that it is bullish. So I'm going to identify key levels where price may get to before it starts turning bullish, which is this level right here, or the second one, which is this level right here. In which case, we are going to continue having our lower highs and lower low, in which case you're going to be having something that looks like this right here. You understand? And so, or we are going to be having something that looks like this, in which case price get here before it then come down. But there's every tendency that price is going to be coming to test that resistance line. But I think that if the United States, if the what do you call it? If the circumstances of the tariff with the United States is still as it is, and then there's no positive news that supports changes that supports or favors the United States, we may see that the yen may be stronger than the United States, which means that we are still in a risk-off environment. And so we expect that price may get to this point and then eventually start coming down. When it is coming down, it means that the yen is strong. Don't forget, when it is coming down, it means that the yen is strong. So now let's make our projections for the week. I'm going to on the previous separator, and then it means that we want to be able to project where price will move for the coming week up to this, possibly this point. And so what that may look like is this. As at the time that the yen is, USD is going up, this can also go up. Remember that going up means it is weak and then coming to test this pivot level. And then after that, you may have some price action around here. Eventually, price then starts going all the way down. It may still pull back a little before eventually then come down. But what I could see is that there's every tendency that we are going to be coming all the way to this point. And then after some time, coming all the way to the monthly supports too. That is somewhere around here. Somewhere around here is where I'm still expecting price to get to. So for me, I'm expecting a bullish yen, but then, the bullish will be decided if price gets here and then reverse. But if it gets here and then reverse, it means that we want to get to this point before it reverses. And so I'll keep high on this level and then also follow up on the fundamentals surrounding yen to know whether this is going to be weak up to this point, or once it gets here, it's going to start becoming strong. So for now, I'm expecting a bullish yen, which is what I'm going to be putting right here, that I'm expecting it to be bullish and turning. Bullish and turning. So with that in mind, you can then go to the US dollar Japanese yen chart and look at what to expect in the coming week. Interestingly, the US dollar Japanese yen and the dollar index seems to have very, very related charts. Very, very close, really related chart. Look at what we have right here. It's very close to what we just analyzed at the dollar index. This is the weekly time frame. This is the daily time frame. And then this is what price also did that I explained to you as at that time. The diagonal structure that we have here was what price did as at that time too. So I'm expecting that may also happen around here too. So it means that we may most likely be having a bearish US dollar Japanese yen chart. So now let us see how we're going to be trading it. Let's go to the 4 hours time frame and then put in our period selector right here. We want to be able to project up to somewhere around this point. And I told you that we have a very similar chart, which means that we have something that looks like the inverse shoulder pattern right here. This is the neckline. And then if price breaks here, if fundamental supports United States, that's when it's going to be breaking up. But if fundamental doesn't support the United States and the yen becomes strong, then that is going to be invalid. And we are looking at the possibility of having the bearish continuation up to this point. Price will then bounce up a little. And then, but it's most likely not going to be getting to this point. It will just bounce up a little and then continue going all the way down, giving us a diagonal structure. The same kind of diagonal structure that we have somewhere around here, which is this place. The same kind of diagonal structure that we have somewhere around here is most likely what we are going to be having. It's most likely what we are going to be having when price now gets to this point. You can see price come all the way. It didn't get to the initial high again. Then after some time, it started going up. Is what we are most likely going to be having around here. So it makes it very easy for us to know when to enter our trade and where to exit it eventually. So now we are done with that. We go to the next one, which is going to be the pounds. And now for the pounds, we are going to be starting from the weekly time frame as usual to identify the trade setup that we have, which is this. And I also think that we have this. So let's see how you look like on the daily time frame. Wonderful. And then let's see what we have on the 4 hours time frame. Very interesting. So it's looking much more like we are in a bullish trend for the pounds. I'm going to put the period separator for the 4 hours time frame, and then I'm going to try to put where we want to project up to, which is somewhere around here. So what it means is that there's every tendency that we want to get to this point. We want to get to somewhere around this point. But we are not going to just get there yet. Price is not just going to move like that. No, it's not just going to move like that. Price move in sequence of waves. So there may be some immediate reaction to price, which is most likely going to end somewhere around, which is most likely going to be ending somewhere around here. Somewhere around here at the first level, or if it's very deep, somewhere around here at the second level. So in which case, this is what we should be expecting, that price makes some kind of retracement and then go up, or price make a deep correction and then go up. Now the up movement is not just going to be what do you call it? It's not just going to be a straight line. It's also going to be making some correction before it gets there. It's also going to be making some corrections before it gets there. So the takeaway that we can see or expect from here is that we expect some immediate bearish movement on the pounds, but the overall trend seems to be bullish. So with that, I'm going to be putting in something here that says bearish, then bullish. Bearish, then bullish. So we know what to expect during the week. Now, now that we know how that plays, we can then use it to look for what to expect on the GDP USD and the GDP JPY. So let's go to those charts. For the GDP USD, we have this. We have this on the GDP USD. And so it means that as at the time, and I'm going to be going to the 4 hours time frame. This is the 15 minutes time frame. I'm going to be going to the 4 hours time frame and also to the 1 hour time frame. So what it means is that as at the time that the USD is initially first strong, we may expect some small movement around here, but that movement is not supposed to be that sharp. I'm expecting it to just be a little a little bearish movement, and then price eventually then go up to complete that cycle. But as you can see, price is not just going to go there immediately. It's trading in a sideways correction pattern. So when it gets there, there's every tendency that it's pull out a little before eventually then go up to where it is going to get to. So remember, USD is supposed to first be bearish, bullish, then go bearish. And then we are expecting the reverse here, where pounds is going to first be bearish, then eventually go bullish. So that gives us an understanding of what to expect in the pounds USD. And then for the pounds yen, which is what we have right here, let me go to the 4 hours time frame. So on the 4 hours time frame, this is not so clear. Let's start from the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, I think is a little bit clear. We have something that looks like this structure, and then something that looks like this structure. So now, what then happened is this. If you look at the analysis that we have made, you will see that both pounds and yen may most likely be strong. It depends on the time as which one is strong or one is weak. But there's every tendency that they may most likely be strong. So what I'm expecting at this level is that there's a possibility that we have a sideways movement right here. The possibility of us having a sideways movement right here. And then this is what I'm expecting, that when yen is strong, we have price coming all the way down here. When yen pulls a little and GDP is strong, you have price coming all the way to this height right here. And then most likely just giving some kind of sideways correction before eventually then pounds then winning. I see that there's possibility that price may win much more, the war much more than the yen, being stronger than the yen at the moment. So this is what I'm expecting for pounds, yen, and pounds USD. So now let's go to the next one, which is going to be the card. So for the card on the weekly time frame, we seem to be in a downward trend. We seem to be in a downward trend, as you can see, downward trend. It's making some kind of push to the upside, but I think it just for the time being, it's going to be coming to test this low. So for me, I think that I should be expecting a weak card, depending on the time, and then I'm going to be drawing the levels or the areas where I expect the eyes to get to before the weakness then starts coming in. So now let's go to the 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame, I think that right here we may most likely first get to this point before it eventually then flush down. So the way to trade this is very simple. Let me take you to the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 hour time frame, it is quite clear right here that we are in one structure that looks like a flag setup right here. And so I'm expecting that price will get to this very weak resistance line and then coming all the way down here. And at this point, I'm going to be expecting to see an harmonic pattern forming around here, an harmonic pattern forming around here. If that happens, it's going to be taking us all the way to this high. After that, then we then expect price to then start falling down. So for me, for card, I think that in this week, let me put the period separator. In this week, I'm expecting that price may most likely be bullish, even though the overall trend on the higher time frame suggests bearish. But the price formation that I can see right here suggests that we may most likely, go all the way to this top before it eventually goes bearish. However, if it is going to then be bearish, immediately bearish, that means wanting to test this point, it means that we need to take this low. As a matter of fact, when price gets all the way down here, it may retest here. That's when we know that we are going low. So we'll be looking for the sell around there. And that is if the fundamental that supports the Canadian economy is not that favorable, in which case there are news release that come and then it goes it goes against the Canadian dollar, then we expect it to go immediately bearish. So we'll be looking at the coming week to find out what the expectation of the news release would be, and then that will determine where the direction would be. So for now, I think it's a 50-50. Price is in the middle, and then it is best to just, do away with the card. But if we are going to be trading it, let's look at the US dollar card, and then let's look at the card JPY and the GDP card to see what to expect. So the US dollar card is somewhere around here, and on the 4 hours time frame, we have it right here. So if the United States is becoming very, very weak, we expect that the card is very, very strong, then we expect that we continue this downward diagonal structure right here. So the only thing we can, sorry about that. The only thing we can expect is that price may most likely first come for some stop hunt activity around here. So we are supposed to be looking for a sell structure at that point that will take us all the way down to that level. So we are looking at the sell. We're looking at the sells on the US dollar card. If card becomes strong during the week, we are looking at the price getting all the way down to that point, and then breaking this level. Once it breaks that level, then we know that we are eventually going all the way down. So we are looking at selling US dollar card. And then for GDP card, I'm not sure that that we are going to be having it as clean as US dollar card. So let me just look at this. For me, I'm going to be staying out of the GDP card because we have two strong currencies that may most likely be fighting against themselves currently. So, but what we can, if you are going to be trading it, you want to, anytime card is strong, you want to take it all the way to this level. And then when GDP is strong, you want to look for a buy position. That's just what I'm going to be saying regarding that, nothing else. And then which other card do we have? The card JPY. The card JPY is a very minor pair. We have a very strong support line around here. And then we also have that card and yen may most likely be strong at this period. So which means that we may most likely be having price getting to move sideways. And then the highest that price may most likely do be to get to this point. But I feel that anytime yen is strong, you're going to be having price flushing all the way down. And then when yen is weak and card is strong, you're going to having price coming all the way to this point. Those are the two possibilities that we'll be having as far as card yen is concerned for this week. So now let's go to the Australian index. So for the Australian index, right here, we can see that price is making a lower high and lower low right here, flushed all the way down, then it's pulling back up. But to what extent is it pulling back up? I don't think it's pulling back up that much. I think that the Australian may most likely be weak for this week. And then we are going to be, so let me put the previous separator right there. It has been moving stylishly bullish to some extent. It has been moving stylishly bullish to some extent. And so I expect that price is most likely going to get to this, maybe possibly retracing around here when the US dollar is weak. But you know that US dollar is supposed to be weak for quite a very long time. So, but for me, I'm generally staying out of the Australian dollar this week because the structure right here doesn't suggest anything positive coming from it. And as a matter of fact, I think we are expecting much more bullish trend around here. So my projections for the coming week is some kind of sideways movement around here. Sideways movement around here for the week. because price has been moving significantly up, and then right now it's just making some kind of sideways movement. I don't think there's anything that suggests it should break out of that structure for the now. So what it means is that the only one that I can trade, the only one that can trade relating to the only one that can trade relating to the what do you call it, relating to the Australian, is the Australian Japanese yen, because yen is supposed to be strong. Australian versus Japanese yen, and then maybe Australian versus the GDP JPY. So let's look at AJ and JJ. So for the AJ, AUD JPY, which is somewhere around here, let's look at the daily time frame. For the daily time frame, it looks very close to the structure that we have on the AUD index. As a matter of fact, I do think that the Australian is significantly overpriced, and then I'm expecting some kind of pullback, especially when the yen is strong, something like this. So I'm looking at the possibility of price doing this, and it's getting all the way to this top a little for some stop hunt, and then when it does that for some stop hunt, and then when it does that, I'm expecting it to then flush down, something that looks like this. Something that looks like this. So when it gets here, it's supposed to, do some kind of retracement a little before it eventually then come all the way down. But I don't think it will go down to take more of this low. This is the initial low. So I think it should stay somewhere around here before we determine the next price action. Then let's look at what we should have. So for this one, I'm expecting bearish on the AJ. Let's look at what we have on the GDP JPY. GDP JPY, which is here. And then I think I've even analyzed this before, where I'm talking about, okay, yeah, so it doesn't even relate to AUD. Okay, I was supposed to look at GDP AUD. Yeah, I was supposed to look at GDP AUD. So for the GDP AUD, I think we should be expecting some push up to some extent. Price has been dancing all the way, in a very strong support line. It has refused to break it. And if GDP eventually becomes stronger than the Australian dollar, then you expect the bullish trend to start. So if price come all the way down to this point, and then we have an harmonic pattern that gives us a bullish reversal formation around here, then I'm going to be taking that, which may most likely see it taking us to somewhere around this level. So, like I told you guys, that is how I do my analysis. I first try to go to the index chart. To try to understand what to expect in the coming week. And then during the week also, I try to go to the AI to try to ask for the different fundamentals that we are expecting for the week, whether the US dollar is going to be strong, pound is strong or weak. And then based on that, I use that to then know what to expect. And then finally, last but not the least, is the momentum trading system that I've built. In which case, anytime that I want to start trading, anytime I want to start trading, I will just click on refresh, and then it's going to tell me the position of the market, and then tell me which one is strong, which one is weak. As at that time, I can then go to my trading indicators to look for the buy arrow or the harmonic pattern that will take me into the trade. So I will try to be doing this weekly right now, so that at least you guys have an understanding of what to expect in the coming week based on the price action. And then don't forget, guys, to subscribe, like, and share if you find it very useful, so that it will encourage me to be able to do stuff like this much more. And then in the long run, we are all going to be getting the benefit, which means that you get to get notified immediately. You get to watch what the expected price action is based on fundamental and technical setup, and then I also get compensated from the effort I'm making and all that by the time it gets to a lot of other traders out there, and then they tend to support the community. So yeah, so you guys, I wish you a very successful trading week, and then happy trading. Bye for now.